Hi, my name is Emily Iannelli. How's everyone? I was gonna do another video, but I think I'm gonna push that off. I'll do that another day. I just don't feel like I don't feel that comfortable talking about it. But there's something that I've lived with all my life since my wife gave birth to Matthew, our son. He's an angel, you know. He's such a sweet kid. And I know there are things that I don't like to say in public, but I think you'll get a feeling of who I am as a person and the way I feel about things. I've been through a lot in my life emotionally, and I'm not making excuses because my two sisters have been through also, but we perceive things differently, you know, and I'm grateful for my two sisters. They encourage me, they give me emotional support. But, you know, we all have families now. We've had families for a long time. My son's 20 now, I can't believe it. And unfortunately, my sister lost her son, 26, due to, unfortunately, drug addiction and alcohol, which is part of our family history. I'm not going to get too deep with this, but all the struggles I've gone through, there's nothing that breaks my heart more than seeing my son struggle with autism. Autism is real. It hurts people. It affects people's lives. You know, you hear the good stories where people who are autistic somehow manage and they're able to be very successful in their life. And then you hear stories that, or you don't hear stories, unfortunately, of those who are left behind, those who do struggle, those who don't have opportunities and chances. There are programs involved, and I made some mistakes with regard to my son. You know, I should have been more of an advocate than I was. I've always thought that I was a good advocate for my son. And when I think about it, I could have done a lot more, and I feel very bad in seeing my son in his circumstances now, in his situation. Reaching out to people, I'm trying to speak to people who have experience raising autistic children. And now my son's a young adult, a young man, 20, and he has issues like I have issues, you know, we all have struggles. But it wasn't my intention to do anything that would hurt my son or make him feel like he's struggling like he does, unfortunately. You know, people think it's easy, or you just find a group home and you know, you just say bye. It's not like that. It's very emotional. It tugs at my heart. I know what's best for my son, you know. This house, who knows how long I'm gonna own it, you know. It's too stressful, especially in Long Island. I wish that we could find a place much cheaper to live and good lifestyle and accepting of people of all kinds. But all the struggles I've been through, it's so hard to see a child of yours struggle, you know, whether it's addiction, drugs, alcohol. But when your child is affected by autism, it also turns your life upside down. I tried my best over the years to try to understand what it was all about. I wrote a blog. I put my heart and soul into what I thought I was doing, which I thought was right, you know? And I always knew that my son was bright. I always knew that he could be somebody, you know? I'm not one to push, you know? I am there to support. But unfortunately, Matthew is having struggles, and I don't know how best to deal with them sometimes, you know? I have struggles too, and I'm just trying to get by, you know? I've had some really close calls recently in the past 6 months, 7 or 8 months, you know? Close calls to the point where I could have lost my life. So this is serious stuff, you know? And You know, when my son was born, when my wife held her in her arms, it was the most beautiful moment in my life. And then seeing the nurse cleaning him, summon me over to watch, you know, it was a miracle. It was beautiful. But now I see my son struggle. You know, I tried to do right by him. I tried to, you know, do vacations, you know, when I was able to work. And then unfortunately the school district sent him upstate, which really affected him terribly, and us too. We thought we were doing the right thing, but Matthew has trauma from the experience, and his life is on hold, you know, and there's not much I can say to uh, help him, and I can't be super honest with him now because he has no interest or desire to be in a group home. And for me, it's going to be very difficult emotionally. It's not the same as seeing your child go on to college and graduate and move on in their life. It's not the same. You can't compare. People say, "Oh, your child's going to fly." Then you know you have to push them out like a mother bird pushing her baby bird out so that they can go on, you know, and do their own thing. It's just not like that, you know. I lived at home. When my mom passed, I stayed with my dad. I was very sheltered, very naive, very innocent. Plus, I also was struggling with personal issues. And, you know, my father went through a lot emotionally. My mom, who sadly passed, she was only 50. And she struggled with depression and a lot of mental illness. My father struggled with depression, alcoholism, mental illness. And it passed down to me, you know, my sisters, but we handled it differently. I was more to keep it within, hold it inside, than to release it. I tried to get therapy, and in a way it was a good thing because eventually it led me to meeting Maria, who I married, and we have our beautiful son. But Matthew's not a baby anymore. He's 20. And I almost died in a car accident in July. I mean, it was very scary. And I also unfortunately attempted suicide in January of this year. I overdosed on medication because I have severe issues and I'm depressed. And I'm worried about things, but you know, I have to put that all behind me now and I have to move forward. You know, I had a life-altering surgery. It's not going to affect me any way where I'm going to change my lifestyle. The intent of the surgery was just to make me feel complete as a person. It wasn't to change my sexual lifestyle or anything like that. I don't need anything like that. I never really did. I'm happy I married my wife and we have a beautiful boy. That's the extent of my sexual needs and desires. I don't have any. You know, I'm very content with my wife and son. They mean the world to me, you know. You know, eventually we're going to have to move on. All of us, Matthew, Maria and I, we hope that we're a family forever, but we will always be a family. But, you know, things happen. Suppose I died in that car accident in July. I wouldn't be here anymore. You know, my life insurance would protect my family, but I wouldn't be around. So God has me here for a reason. And the reason is to protect my family and make sure Matthew will be okay. You know, that's why I'm here. It's not, well, also I almost got killed in July. I'm not being over dramatic here, I'm telling you the truth. But I did survive, and maybe also it was a blessing. I mean, obviously it was a blessing because I still am in my wife's and son's life, you know, despite all the struggles. And I had surgery that I've wanted since I was young, 16 years old. Surgery I thought would never happen for me, you know, as much as I wanted to go forward with it. It just didn't seem in the cards, you know. This was my 6th attempt, and they were ready to pull the plug. They were really ready to pull the plug because of my liver damage. I take lots of medication over the past 7 years, and it must have affected my liver to the point where they are concerned, and they even ask me if I drink, and I don't. I drink this water, you know, and maybe an occasional orange vanilla Coke and Snapple. I can go on and on, but I'm trying my best to eliminate all the sugar drinks, you know. And this is the best thing for your thirst anyway, water, so you don't get dehydrated. My friend bought this for me. It's a gift, you know. It's easier to use, too. It's from Dunkin' Donuts. I have a good friend. He cares about me. He's just a friend. We're both transgender. I'm male to female. He's female to male. And we learn from each other, you know. I learn a lot from him. He helped me, you know. And he's very nice to my wife and my son. And in fact, we're going to do karaoke soon. Get Matthew into the singing too. He likes to sing. So karaoke is a good thing for all of us, and it helps, you know. So what I was trying to say was all that I've been through, the most heartbreaking thing for me is to see Matthew struggle and to see him have autism. It's very emotional, it's very difficult, especially because he doesn't believe he has it. And if I mention the word, it's like a curse word to him. And it's a very emotional thing, you know. I cry. You don't know how many times I've cried over my son's situation. You know, and our school district was horrible. New York state law says that a special needs child is entitled to an education in New York State up until age 21. And what did they do? They pulled the plug on my son at age 18. And I didn't know better. I should have fought for my son to get a better education than what he got. But I just didn't know. You know, they played around with him. They put him in different schools within Levittown. And then they said, oh, we can't handle him because of his behavior. I mean, what school district in 2015 on can't support the needs of an autistic and special needs child? If a school district can't, then why are they open? They're supposed to teach all children to do their best, and no matter what they have, they try to work with them, and they just push my son through the system, you know. And I'm so angry, but it's too late. He's 20 now, but in New York State, if everything went smooth, he'd still be in school, you know, getting an education up until 21. But they pushed him out, and I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't have a parent advocate. I did, but it was very expensive. I wish money was not an issue. I should have found a way, but... And now we're here. Matthew's very depressed and bored, and he does go to a day program. But I can see he's getting older. He wants to have independence, you know, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. You know, I know what it's like to feel lonely and isolated. I've struggled all my life, basically. You know, being transgender is not easy. Struggling with depression, and, you know, it's hard, you know, mental illness. And then seeing Matthew with his autism, it just breaks my heart. And I want to see him do well, because when it's my time, I want to know that Matthew will be okay, and Maria. You know, life is hard, it's good, it's beautiful, it's sad too, though. You know, and if you ask me, am I afraid to die? I am afraid to die. I'm becoming more religious, but we don't know what tomorrow brings. Of course I'm afraid to die. Why wouldn't I be? Aren't you afraid to die? But I think we make our peace in the end, you know? When we know. I saw a heartbreaking video about this chimpanzee. 58, I didn't even know they lived to be that old. but it was emotional and heartbreaking and real. And it was a reunion between a caretaker of the chimpanzee when she was younger, much younger, and just seeing the emotion in that video when the caretaker reunited when he heard what was going on and that his chimpanzee friend was dying, so he went to visit, and in so doing he knew that the chimpanzee, his friend Mama, was dying and she refused to eat or drink. She knew it was the end for her. And this gentleman, who was an old man too, was there to support her in the end. And it was such raw emotion when the chimpanzee went from being in utter pain to expressing joy and smiling and hugging. We never seen that with animals, so I don't remember. But it was real and it was true. And I cried many tears just watching that video. And I think about my son, and when it's my time, and my family, my wife, when it's my time, having to say goodbye, you know? Or even just simply having to say goodbye when he has to move on. We all know our children have to move on. They have to have lives too, and we want only the best for our children, you know? My son means the world to me. Without him, there's no me. You know, without Maria, there's no me. I can't face life alone. I would not be able to handle it. I need my wife and son, but Matthew needs help. He needs intensive support. I thought over the years he would improve, but it's getting more and more difficult now because he's realizing he's growing into a young man, and it's frightening. It was frightening for me too. I lived with my dad till I was 37 years old. Matthew's 20. I don't even know if I'll be alive in 17 years. You know? And this address, this house we live in, is temporary. You know? And it's hard. Life is hard. We try. You know? I want to be happy. I want to see my son happy. I'm not happy, to be honest with you, until my son is happy. You know, people said, oh, you did your surgery, you're so happy now, right? You're so excited. And I said, but you don't understand. You don't understand what it means to struggle. I struggle with being transgender, I struggle with depression. My son struggles with autism. And along the way, I thought maybe if I was lucky one day, I would do surgery. But then I was conflicted, because I also thought, oh, you know, maybe I would love to have a family too. Marry, you know, and I did. I married. I have a beautiful wife, you know, and my son, he's the world to us. But Matthew's not a baby anymore. He's 20. And trying now to try to fix things as best I can. Maybe that's the wrong word. But try to get Matthew on the right track. Because we're not going to be here forever. We will have to eventually say goodbye permanently. Even though I believe we do reunite in heaven, I have to believe that. Because we need hope, right? You know, we don't just die and that's it. There's got to be something more than that. We come into the world, we're blessed with this beautiful gift of life, and then it goes away, and then what becomes of us? You know, our shell goes back into the earth, but our soul goes up to heaven, right? That's what I've been taught as a little kid, and I believe that. And I want what's best for Matthew, You know, I'll always want what's best for Matthew, because Matthew's my son, and I'm his father, and Maria's his mother. And I love them both very much, with all my heart and soul. And I just want to see Matthew live to be happy, find friends, and do something he likes. You know, I'm not going to push him. I just want to be there to help him and support him. And it isn't easy just finding a group home and putting him there. I never had that experience before. If I find a group home through help and assistance of his support team, and we are very confident that he'll do okay with that, and there's reasonable certainty that he'll have a good life. I don't know how group homes work as far as living arrangement, if it's considered a hopeful long-term arrangement. But separating will be difficult. But at the same time, we want what's best for Matthew. We want him to be in an environment where he can thrive and find friends and grow. Life is very difficult when you think about it. I was raised by my parents. My parents are now gone many, many years now. My dad 10 years, and my mom a long time. My mom 19 years earlier than that. So 90, she died in 1990, so 2000, 2010, 2020. It'll be 30 years in 2020. So my dad lived 19 years longer than his wife. And it was hard, you know, he missed her. They were good together, they were happy. And Matthew got to see his grandpa for 10 years, you know, and they loved each other, and that's gone, and that's life, you know. We don't know, it just is. That's what we have to accept. You know, I'm afraid to die. We're all afraid to die, you know. But I try to look at it in a way where I can come to terms with that. And come to terms with the eventual separation of the family. Matthew's like the root of our family. When he's moved on, then we, you know, what is it after that? It's just painful. It is. Life is painful. It's beautiful and it's painful too. That's reality, you know. We all know we're not going to be here forever. And we have to realize that, you know. I know, because I almost died 2 times in this very year. 2019 was not the best year for me. But it is also because I survived and I did my surgery. Surgery I thought would never happen. But, you know, Matthew is my priority. Sure, I'm happy I did surgery. I haven't really wanted to hurt people, especially my wife and son. But, you know, things are the way they are. I can't change that. All I know is I want the best for Matthew. I want my wife to be okay, you know, and life is difficult. We have to do the best we can, because it's not a picnic, as they say. So I'm rooting for Matthew. I know he'll be fine. I love my wife. I love my son. And I'm blessed to have them both in my life. And all I can say is autism really is a struggle. Depression is a struggle. Mental illness is a struggle. Addiction is a struggle. Transgender is a struggle. And our family's been affected by that all of that. You know, suicide also. So, I'm just trying to move on and help my family as best I can, especially Matthew. Because Matthew will always be in my head, because I love him, and I always will. And I love my wife too. Without them, I'm nothing. That's what keeps me going. And surgery is not so bad. I'm doing better. hanging in there. I'll do another video about that. But I pray for Matthew. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with me. Blessed art thou amongst women. Oh God, I'm embarrassing myself. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with me. Hail, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forget us our trespasses as we believe. And childhood prayers, I should know them, right? I know them, but I'm on live, and I forgot my prayer. But I'm Mormon, I'm Catholic, I'm Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But I want what's best for Matthew. And I think that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints actually could be a good thing for Matthew, where he can meet friends. The problem is, he's resistant, and I can't force him, you know. I just find that that church is much more friendlier, and there are reasons why. But anyway, I'm praying for Matthew. Let me try to get this prayer right before I go. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with me. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the Lord. For Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with me. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is... Can't believe it. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with me. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Almost got it. I'll have it right. I love you all. Matthew, I love you. Maria, I love you. We're a family. Thank you. Good luck, my son, Matthew.